sitting in a chair with a little slip of paper, it'll tell you some instructions for doing a live poll. And we're going to start our session now. So while you're doing your tickets, if you could go ahead and pull out a smartphone or a tablet and go to the address printed there, and I will activate the poll. And we want to actually start off with a few questions. Number one, the way this is going to work, you can sign in with any name, or you can sign in anonymously. And when you text your reply to this question, what is the biggest innovation of the last generation? We'll get a word cloud. If this works as advertised, showing up here with your responses. You can enter as many as you like. So if you really, really want to make a point, you can text multiple times. If you text a long sentence, it will break your sentence into words and go into the wording cloud. We have some ideas about the biggest innovations of the last generation. We're curious if you guys have the same ideas about what the biggest innovations are. It's good. Blockchain is really small. Absolutely. Okay, excellent. Let me ask another question. Internet. Absolutely. So let me ask, having thought about that, let me ask a second question. How are we preparing our students to be the next generation of innovators? So what is the best way to do this? Help our students innovate in the next time. STEM programs. Sounds like I-CORPS. Creativity, technology, startup funding, experiential learning, all these things tie in with what we're talking about today. Absolutely. I like it. Programs. Fantastic. I like this. It's a good list. The others? Right, mentorship. Okay. Basic science. Do that. I like that. All right, good luck. Yes. My contrarian. People don't know how to. You learn how to think as scientists in ways 100 years ago that are actually, to me, the core that we still need. That are being lost. Well, I think that's what we're going to get at, is how do we bring things together in a way that we're doing research and we're doing other things too that are sort of amplifying that research. That's really important. Diverse populations, active learning. All right, so one final question. This one's a little bit different. This is, what's the difference between trickier. This one is going to give you sort of a multiple choice, where if you like someone else's answer, you can upvote their answer when it shows up. That's why it's a little top thing. So if you see the little zero, if someone likes things versus ideas, you can vote for that. Or you can add one. Things versus ideas, very cool. So winner. Ideas versus practical results. Invention is the idea concept. Innovation is bringing into fruition that. Using old systems to fix new problems. Outcome versus creativity. No difference. None. Invention creates something from scratch. Innovation brings something to the next level. Remember, we have these down here that you can always vote for as you're going along the night. It allows you to vote once as well. Not certain. Let's get started. Absolutely.
Well, thank you everybody for being here. We're really excited to have you in this space today because this is what we think of as the intersection of science, technology, and business. If you put those three things together, you get to what we think of as innovation. Three different disciplines that enable each other and create change in the world. And I personally am honored to be here with John and Kathryn. They have patiently for over a year tried to help me understand what DNA stands for, what gene editing is, what CRISPR-2 is all about, and through that process they become mentors. Our story is about innovation made possible by interdisciplinary cooperation, and that's really one thing we want to talk about today, and how we're starting to move from talking about it to actually take action here. You can look at what we've done as an isolated example, or as an illustration of what happens when we break down academic silos, unbundle coursework, and look at what we can create by thinking differently. Let's start with a quick definition. No organization and no person likes to think of themselves as not being innovative. Innovative is part of Western tradition, and it's been here since the day of the Enlightenment, when we broke free of dogma and began to explore phenomena that the natural world. It's the center of economic development, it's the center of geopolitics, and it should be the center of learning. But we have to be careful, as our exercise should not confuse invention and innovation. Innovation is built on invention and represented by somewhat traditional models, like the one shown here on your left. This is a business person, so if you're a scientist, disagree, talk to me later. It's now on scope. To move into the realm of innovation has to enter society. And that's represented by the amplified model on the right. It's where we take invention from a lab and research and prepare it for entry into the mainstream of the world. That is the realm not just of innovation, but of the entrepreneurs who grab invention and turn them into something more meaningful. Like Apple, like Google, like Facebook, like Airbnb, like Netflix, like Uber, and hundreds of others that we don't even know about working around the globe. Innovation changes everything, and when it occurs, all hell breaks loose. That's why the economist Joseph Schumpeter called it creative destruction. It's about the birth and redefinition of large parts of society and economies, resulting in EdTech, and Clean Tech, and FinTech, and AgTech, and Biotech, and Bitcoin, and blockchain, and self-driving vehicles, and global banking, and quantum computing, and infectious diseases, and cybersecurity. And it's all happening right now. Reshaping the world, most of us know, and creating opportunities that our students need to understand, because those are the jobs, the opportunities, and the industries of the future. Our story is just a small slice of that. John's going to talk about what happened when a graduate student came to him and talk about evolving her work from invention to innovation. Kathryn's going to talk about the incredible manifestation of that and the opportunity it created for AU and its faculty and students. Before I finish, I want to share with you short stories of two students who already know this. First is Maria Rose Bellows. She's a CAS student studying public health. Never took a business course. She's the best entrepreneur I've ever met. I spent 20 years in Silicon Valley. She's from the rich part of Iowa and looked around and wondered why 47 million people are going to go hungry every day. When there's abundance all around her. She saw a growing supply chain without calling it a supply chain, where restaurants and cafeterias and grocers throw away food that pantries need to serve hungry people who could not find it. And her favorite line is, but we have the internet. And she and her team work here in this space every day to use the internet to help food pantries find food from food producers and servers. She does it between classes, on weekends, and all summer. She's raised almost $200,000 through competitions. She's been featured in a documentary produced by Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, and has become a personal friend of his. She was identified among 14 women employed in America by L'Oreal. She was the youngest woman by 20 years. She was honored for her service by President Obama and invited to South by South. The list goes on. More importantly, Maria Rose and her team of AU students has moved almost 2 million pounds of food in 48 states using the internet. And our largest customer is a business called Coca-Cola. This is Matt Mullins. Some of you may know Matt. He's an environmental science major and a minor in physics. He works at the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. He grew up on Cape Cod and worried about beach erosion. He decided there was a way to address that. So we started a company called SandScan, using drones, LiDAR radar systems, and high-end imaging systems that could cost-effectively produce accurate before and after images of coastal erosion. Last spring, he finished third place in the Lab to Launch competition held by the American Association for the Advancement of Science. Last summer, he won an MIT Space and Sea grant to work on his project with Toll. Last semester, he was the first undergraduate student to participate in a program called FinTech, where we work on commercializing 3D audio technology developed by the Air Force for private companies. Like Maria Rose, he never took a business course, but he's an innovator and an entrepreneur. The point of this, as you will hear, is that these students realize that the world is interdisciplinary, that life is interdisciplinary, and they have to find ways on their own to combine science, technology, and business to benefit society. Thank goodness we have an incubator, but we need more to prepare students entering into a world where business, society, and science are going to collide faster and more frequently than ever before, raising issues that are both moral and economic. Is there a model of education that we need to consider and develop where faculty and administrators embrace and develop if we want to have more students like Matt and Maria and Megan Nelson? If we want to be able to offer them education in the classroom as opposed to making them go find the resources where genomics isn't just seen as a science, but as the trillion-dollar industry it's forecasting to become. The benefits to AU doing this are enormous. Student success, competitiveness, exposure on a national level, alumni engagement. We've got 3 co-op students on the Biotech Advisory Board, 3 co-op alumni, I should say, of the Biotech Advisory Board, grants and awards, and they use Bracht as the leader in innovation. And to do that requires us to change, to experience our own creative destruction, to stop saying either or. Either we are researchers or entrepreneurs, accountants or genomicists. It starts by saying one simple word, and. That's what John's going to show us.
Thanks, Phil. That was so. When we were planning for this session, I just want to stand in front of this audience. Okay. Yeah. So Bill and Kathryn and I worked together for about a year now on this sort of topic. I'm a researcher. I run genomics. I run a genomics lab here at American University. And like we talked about in the beginning, I do a lot of interesting technology, but there's really a student that drove this project forward. I'm going to tell you her story and how we kind of got involved in doing I-CORPS, because I'd never heard of I-CORPS before. This is totally new for me, right? So I come in as sort of a traditional hardcore researcher, still I think a pretty hardcore researcher, but adding these elements of commercialization has been really fun. So and, what do we mean by and? Megan Nelson was a student in my lab. Actually, she was my first student. She started in fall of 2014, like forever ago. And she did a thesis. It was a great thesis, genomics. She sequenced a bunch of stuff. She found some genes. She's an author on a paper that we're about to resubmit for the revised resubmit stage. So she's done really well. But in spring of 2016, I taught a class called biotechnology. And in that class, I really emphasized how to start a business. And this really triggered something for Megan. She decided that starting a business is really what she wanted to do with her life. And she went out and she started investigating ways to start a business. So people ask me, how did you get involved in this stuff? And I say, well, really, I just followed my student. I didn't come in with great expertise in this area. But Megan went out and started doing something called I-CORPS. In fact, she came to me and she said, there's this thing called I-CORPS. And I said, okay. Like, Alright, let's sit down. Yeah. Alright. As far as we can. Alright, so Megan was my student. She was doing I-CORPS, and in the spirit of interaction, when she came to me and she said, I really want to start a business, and I'm doing I-CORPS, my response was, my response was, when did we start? Or was it all the time? Or was it, what's I-CORPS? Of course, the answer is always C, right? What is I-CORPS? I had no idea. But what I did do, and I think what we want to encourage, is saying yes to students, and students who are taking this kind of initiative, because it really turned out to be really powerful. And this is actually a picture of where we ended up, partly because of our involvement. We did something called the I-CORPS National Program, which is a $50,000 grant, and really led us to apply for now $250,000 site grant for American University that Kathryn's going to talk about. So it turned out to be really a pioneering thing. So what is I-CORPS? This is kind of confusing. I found it confusing. There's really two kinds of I-CORPS. This is one reason why it's confusing. People will always clarify. There's a local version of I-CORPS that focuses on students going out and interviewing customers and developing an idea. It allows you to apply for this national program. And actually, I see there's money down here. At American University, there's money. When Megan did it, there wasn't. She went out and did this entirely on her own. Extracurricular, she went to George Washington University. And she came to me when she wanted to apply for the national program. The national program is run by National Science Foundation. And the idea is to bring technologies that have commercial potential into the real world, as Bill was talking about. There's a $50,000 grant involved, which is great. The faculty member involved is the PI, but there's a team of people. There's business mentors who come alongside, and Bill and Kathryn were on the team, as you saw from the picture. There's a very fixed workshop schedule. We do 100 customer interviews. This is really a fantastic experience. It's a lot of work. We're actually talking today a lot about they use I-CORPS site, because now we are doing this over here. This is not nearly the same sort of time commitment as this one over here. Because a lot of people come to us and they say, well, I don't have time. Well, as a faculty member, you actually can be pretty minimally involved over here. You just basically are supporting the students when I'm doing this. Now, what we're hoping is that some people will be interested in applying for the national program as well, right? So keep that in the back of your mind. There is some really cool stuff you can do over here. Now, I would also say, because we went and did the national program, that was a direct impetus to doing the I-CORPS site. So there's this sort of synergistic feedback. Okay, good. We had this really great model, which I skipped over, where we think that the way this should work is that faculty and students, and we're calling industry or commercialization, careers down here, are connected through this AND. It's a multidisciplinary approach. And it's multidisciplinary in a lot of ways. We're faculty working with students. Here's ProGod working with CAS. We have these AND sort of interactions that have been really fruitful. And because we're small, I think that facilitates that. So that's one of the, I think, main points we want to bring home, is this AND sort of connection. And this really is reimagining the educator in the 21st century. This is the theme of today's conference. I think it hits 3 of the 4 subjects. Back over it. Alright. So the way I-CORPS works, scientific method. How does we know? So we have an iteration process. We generate documents. I-CORPS is a very similar idea. You have an idea, and it goes through the process of testing or data in the terms of customer feedback. This is really interesting. And then you refine your idea. And you do this before you actually start your business. The idea is you want something called product market fit, which is pure gold in terms of commercialization. You can fit a product to an actual need. As a scientist, I get really excited about an idea. I love ideas. But the customer is not always as excited as I am. And you'd be surprised at how convinced you can be that this is good, and the customer really doesn't. In fact, we had this experience when we were doing I-CORPS. It led to a major change. The refining here is called pivoting in business. But what I like about these two cycles is you can intertwine them. And this is really how it's worked in my lab, is that we have analysis and the testing over here on the left, the traditional model, is the publishing grants. Megan actually applied for a couple of STTR grants, which are multi-million-dollar grants. We're still applying, but if we get one of these, it's significant money coming from my lab as well. It's partnership and grants. There's also the customer feedback side, and it all is a virtual, maybe both, sort of intertwined cycle. And you get patents in your companies and other sorts of outcomes we don't normally associate with research at American universities. So this is what we sort of envision as the amplified model. But what's cool is Megan really drove a lot of these changes in my lab, and we're now doing research we wouldn't have done otherwise. Right? So we're taking genomics and doing diagnostic stuff. We're about to submit our first diagnostic paper, hopefully in a week. All those well. Anyway, that's my part. I'm going to turn this over to Kathryn.
Great. All right. So for the interest of time, I had some nice videos all queued up from the Senate subcommittee about the I-CORPS. This is something that's a national trend that the government really wanted. So the government kind of saw a need where it was putting all this money into basic research, but it wasn't really translating at the rate they wanted as far as stimulating the economy. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to have a pipeline for taking research from universities, government labs, etc., and putting it into commercial ventures. Also, in the course of doing that, to kind of improve education and kind of prepare students, again, for 21st century careers. So I'm not going to play these just because we are running short on time and I want to have time for questions and discussion. But some of the highlights of what are in the videos is they talk about how when STEM students see a career path for what they're doing, they tend to be more engaged in STEM, and this is a huge way to increase diversity in STEM. So one of the people who was in the, the witnesses, she runs a site out of California, and it's a primarily Latina serving institution, and they have seen huge gains in the number of students who are engaged in STEM and STEM research. In addition, like John said, there are 3 professors, this one at UCSC, one at University of Maryland, I can't remember where the other one from, but they talk about how by doing this kind of work, it informs the research as well. So that's pretty much the summary of what was in the videos. I just wanted to save time rather than have all the videos. So I think the main reason why we had this session was we wanted to kind of tell people about the innovation programs that are at American University, again, focusing on this I-CORPS site program, which we're starting up this spring. So just to kind of help with confusion, so there's kind of 4 ways that innovation work is done at American University right now. So you're in the American Center for Innovation, which provides business support. It's open to students from any major, from any school. And so there's been an increase in students from SIS and CIS working in the Center for Innovation in the last 2 years. We also have the FedTech program, which was mentioned before. In that program, there is a person who actually goes to federal agencies, gets IP from federal agencies, and then allows either starting up entrepreneurs and or students to work on this venture. So actually, Emmanuel is here. So Emmanuel was actually in that program last semester, where he worked on something that was developed for the military. We see it had commercial potential. So we have students doing that. We also have students taking classes that have, so they're not business classes, but they're classes that have an entrepreneurial spin. So actually, teaches one of those courses, and John had it before. There also are classes in the business school focusing on entrepreneurial innovation. The main thing I want to talk about here is the I-CORPS program and what that is. The first thing is that it's a really big deal for American University. So this is the map of all the universities that have this program, this NSF funded program. And just to kind of really highlight why it's so cool that American University has it, so there's us. So you can kind of see who we're in with. And one of the things that you'll notice is that all of these schools, with the exception of, I think, Dartmouth, have engineering programs and or are large state schools. So despite the fact that we don't have a formal engineering program here, we're we're not a large state school. We're not considered an R1. For some reason, NSF said, yes, you can do this program. So we were really excited. One of the things that happened to us when we were at the National I-CORPS program, when we first went there, actually one of the reviewers actually came up to us and said, "You're not supposed to be here." We're like, "What do you mean?" What she meant was we're not supposed to be going to the DC node, but I think what she meant was American University doesn't have the kind of science that warrants this kind of program. And at the end, that same person came up to us and said, "This is great, can you go apply for this thing?" So that kind of shows you how we raise our profile in the sciences and how this is helping our reputation in the sciences as well. So program details. Students who are entering this program, the way that we're structuring it right now, we're structuring it as an independent study. So over the course of 14 weeks, we'll do customer discovery interviews. So what a customer discovery interview is, we talked about, essentially, with a Segway, everyone knows what a Segway is, right? So when they first made Segways, they said, "Do you like this thing?" And people were like, "Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I love it." And so they're like, "Wait, Segways are going to be great. People are going to stop riding bicycles and just go on Segways." So they made tons and tons and tons of these things. Nobody bought them. Everyone's like, "Well, ride a bike, go walk, it's fine." So what happens is they ask, "Do you like my thing?" If you ask, "Do I like my thing?" people don't want to tell you your baby's ugly. They're like, "Oh, wow." But they go, whereas a customer interview, they say, "So transportation-wise, what do you need? What are your concerns?" So the idea of customer discovery is that you kind of ask open-based questions, and then you go back to the lab or back to development, and you kind of tweak your technology, the science, or just your market, so that way you're actually fitting the correct market. And it's a way to make technologies of transition into the commercial market more likely to succeed. You actually know what your market is, or know what changes that slight changes you need to make to fit your market. So our students will kind of go through that process. They'll have access to business mentors at COBOT. So again, if there are faculty who say, "I don't know anything about business, I'm not interested in business," you don't have to know anything about business. You don't have to be interested in business. COBOT will provide those people. In addition, we have some people from our advisory boards who are actually leading advocates to advise these students. They're so excited. They've already been advising them previously, and they're excited to advise them. So it's a great way also to engage with our alumni. The students will also have the opportunity to build prototypes in the design and build lab, so that is downstairs in this building. So part of the money, $22.50, that each team will receive can go towards getting materials to make prototypes in the design and build lab. So they'll actually have something where if they want to take it to the next level, they can show an engineer a design, they can show an engineer something 3D printed, they can show something that was milled and say, "Is this possible? Can you make this thing?" They can have something tangible if their research or if their project is not going. So what is the role of scientific mentor or technical advisor? So for those of you who do engage, who either are science professors or engage with them, this structure really requires the students to take the initiative to be leaders. So there's minimal requirement on the science advisor. They can kind of be advised as much as they or involved as much as they want to. And again, the scientists do not need business schools because I will provide that. Really what the scientists are doing is making sure that what the students are saying to the outside world is scientifically sound, that they're not misrepresenting the science or the technology, and the faculty have that expertise to do that. Alright, so who can apply? So any research that is fundable by NSF is fair game. So it's not restricted to the CAS. One of our teams for this first session is from SIS. It's a data science project, and so that is NSF funded. So again, anything that has NSF funding is fair game for apply. And at this point, because we are starting out, we're definitely open to if there is something that is really innovative and scientific, that's going to another school. We're definitely welcome to consider that. If a part of the society goes to a national program, which again is optional, the faculty member has to have NSF lineage. And do be liberal in this. For example, I was term faculty, I'm now staff, not tenure track at all, but we're actually able to use my NSF lineage to be eligible for the I-CORPS program. So this is again a great way for tenure track obviously, but also term and adjunct faculty to be involved in working with students. Yes.
So if you participate in the site, you gain lineage for a national program. So you don't have to win an NSF research grant to go apply nationally. You can participate in the site or having students participate. In my case, Megan went and did a local program. I wasn't even involved, but she came back and she had lineage to go and apply nationally. So, so it's a fantastic sort of opening opportunity.
The students can be undergraduate students or graduate students, and they'll be again awarded up to 3 independent study credits if they want to need them for their programs and studies. We're also going to be incorporating teams from other universities. So we've had interest from Loyola University in Maryland, McDaniel College, UDC-CC, which is down on Capitol Hill, and we're hoping to bring in UGC since they do have engineering. So if you know people out of those schools, please also encourage them to get involved. So what happens after students complete this program? Well, if they decide they want to take their project further, they can do that within the AUD Incubator. They can apply to the National I-CORPS program that we talked about. They can apply for patents. They can apply for STTR, SBIR grants. Those are those $100,000 to multi-million-dollar grants with their faculty members, of course. Or, and if everything goes well, their IP can be purchased by a large company and make tons of money. So I did want to take a little bit of time to allay some possible misconceptions about the programs. So some of the things that you've heard are, the main thing is that students don't know enough math or science yet to invent something. So one of the kind of the ideas behind this is, again, the students are not inventing, they're innovating, which is different. We kind of talked about that. And so inventing would be, doing basic research and creating something from the beginning. The students are not so much doing that, but they're finding a commercial application for it. And in the process of doing that, they really do have to learn the technology in it now. Bill and I went to actually the FedTech closing session that Emmanuel was in, and one of the things that I was super impressed with was the students who were in that program were really getting grown by venture capitalists, some scientists, some military people. They were really grilling them on the science of this. These people have been doing this for a long time, so even if they weren't scientists, they did really know a lot about underlying science. And whether the students were business students or science students, they really had to know the in and out of science. So it's a great way to learn science and technology, kind of in an alternative way. So that's that. The other thing too is that the purpose of the program isn't so much for, for them to necessarily become entrepreneurs. If they do, that's wonderful. The point is for them to get general skills that will help them make more things. So again, students don't want to start their own business. There's no requirement that students will do this and start their own business. That's not really the point of it. They can do this, they can put it on their resume, on their CV, on their transcript, and then a company will say, oh, instead of starting you at, research associate 4, we're going to put you project manager, because they know that they've had this experience and had this training. For the faculty, a lot of them say, this is something that I began to do when I was in the National I-CORPS program, which is, I like my faculty job and I don't want to start a business. I have kids, I have a mortgage, I can't take that type of risk. Again, that's not something that, any faculty or staff person will be obligated to do. In the situation that we're in, Megan is actually leading the company. She actually still has a full-time job and then pretty much does this full-time, so I guess she only sees 5 hours a night. But she's taking the lead on this, and we're just acting as advisors. So and the last thing is this won't be helpful for students entering that team. So one of the testimonies that I didn't show, because we didn't have time, but one of the testimonies I didn't show was somebody basically making the point that we're graduating more people with PhDs than there are academic jobs for. So a lot of those people with PhDs are going to be the people who are working in industry. And so there is a disconnect in industry between the scientists that they need to work, that need to have the scientific and technical knowledge, and their ability to communicate with accountants, and communicate with marketing, all those people. So this will help give them those skills so that students really are ready to kind of enter a diverse workforce. So a lot of times, for this kind of anecdotally biotechnology program, about half of our students actually do go into academia. And it seems like the schools that they're going into do appreciate that they've had those business skills. And the honest truth is, for those of us in the audience who have PhDs, you don't learn any of this while you get your PhD at all. So this is really the only time that they're going to have to learn. So get it now. Alright, so I'm going to kind of conclude here, and then we'll open it to discussion. But the idea behind all these programs is that it really kind of provides a way to interdisciplinary mentorship. We can learn along with our students. So, as Bill and John both attested, we learn so much. So, Bill, we're learning about science, John and I are learning more about business. It's a really great way to engage beyond our silos. So, our silos look within the university and outside. So, we did a lot of networking through this customer discovery process. One example is we went down to Sibley Hospital to do some customer discovery interviews there. We got connected to the person who does their kind of design thinking, kind of runs like their makerspace / design thinking studio down there. And then from that, now American University has at the president's level has been talking a lot with them and actually incorporate design thinking into a lot of what we're doing at American University. And that started with us actually calling, actually asking a former student, and then calling this guy who said like, oh yeah, hey, come on down and talk to me about your venture. And then that really created something really great for the university that otherwise we would never have had that connection. So that's one of the greatest things that in addition, the students are also networking a lot. So the students could presumably this is a way for them to get into PhD programs, to get jobs, and those sorts of things. Because in their customer discovery process, they're going to talk to someone who says, oh, well, I think that's really interesting. You seem like a smart person, like you know what you're doing. I have a job opening up next week. So we're really excited about this program. So now I guess we'll take questions. Again.
I'm very glad to see that you. The place I first heard about AFC was actually through a veterans entrepreneurship program, and they were talking about, like you said, a lot of the connections in terms of higher environments, and this, I think this is really associated with this. But to your point about AU, the relevancy of this to AU with our solid and growing veteran student population, I think it's another opportunity being that in a way. I'm a veteran. My last job was with the Marine Corps Research and Development, and so the idea of when you serve and get exposed to a lot of different things, the idea of being able to take that experience, the practical experience, you said, as a common user of technology and equipment, and go into an environment where you're leveraging that learning about how to help create the technology for the business side. I think there's a lot of potential there, so I think veteran student population is think about us.
Yeah, it's a great point. We, our other program, EdTech, we take a lot of technologies and develop in labs, Army Lab, Navy Lab, Navy Warfare Lab, Air Force. Kathryn and I were happy for week here to give a lot of our MBA students presenting some of the technology she had worked on to some of the scientists from the Army, as well as venture capitalists, faculty from the University of Pennsylvania would come down to hear some of these presentations. And it's just a great opportunity to get veterans involved. Would be even better.
Okay, yeah.
I guess with the cooperation, collaboration of different groups, the debate about is that, in computer science, we don't know much about the business.
Yeah.
I'm taking care of the capstone project, and we do a lot of interesting projects. Some students have a little bit difficulty to know that they don't have, first of all, the background on the specific things, whether it be business related. We have people developing software projects, hoping that someday they can sell it. I just want to know how much hopes, for instance, can provide our students. Like, is there any particular database available here that, for instance, I can ask my students look at and see what are the ideas that are going on, right now at AU, so they can work on that and expand it and multiply it and I would definitely love to have someone from the center to come to my class and explain, what the work is, how to let them involved.
Call me anytime. I'm happy to come talk to your class. Or computer science students will be participating in the tech program this semester, wanting to commercialize technology and being part of that. So sometimes it's just like maybe it takes one student with an interest in the thing, and then it's something to grow from there. We've talked about Chicago. We'd love to have more engagement.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting, for instance, to have a database here that all kind of projects that are going on at the UTB there. So that when we look at it, say, oh, okay, this is sort of like a medical related or health related. As the other day, I was talking to one of the bankers from the health department, for the assessment thing. You want to know more about other departments that they do unless, there is something available.
Something kind of very related. So I agree, and Kathryn already talked about this, and hearing all three of your presentations, I'm even more convinced it's a great idea. I have a class I'm teaching this spring that is very wide and open, a physics class, but it doesn't follow a particular period. And I already want to integrate a little bit of the Innovation Center activity. Now I'm thinking maybe should we come up here? I mean, I don't know, but Steve before I really like to have a few. Yeah, I definitely want to have that be integrated, a module into the class. And I think that students would, probably some of them who knows what fire you might like. So maybe,
We would love to do that better. This center is interdisciplinary. It's cross campus. It's well funded, but we're going to be successful by having physics students, and genomics students, and data students, and computer science students.
And is it better to bring them up maybe for a class here, or for you people to come down to us?
Let me mention the class that I've been working on with Phil and John, and so I took over after John taught it. That's part first. Now it says biotechnology in the course catalog. We need to change it. It's kind of pivoting, use the business term, right? Into more of like a bio-commercialization, but it doesn't just have to be complete biology. So how do you take a technology and commercialize it from the beginning to the end? And so this semester I have a patent examiner, patent agent coming to talk about the patent process. We have John's going to talk about his experience writing STTR, and someone else in the game lab who has had a bunch of SBIR grants is also going to talk. So we're kind of marching them through. Bill gives a great lecture on how do you start your group, who you need, and how do you talk to your customers. So it's kind of that whole process that they've been talking about. And I do have a physics student in it this semester.
Oh, do you have?
I don't remember. Okay. But I know everything. But I think I was looking through it. I only have a physics student.
Yeah.
I have 2 neuroscience students. So I thought, we've got virus. We've got a bunch. And so all these students, interdisciplinary students working together to do this would make it just, kind of where you guys all want it, right? Or where we all want it to kind of feed into some of these programs too. So it's out there.
If I can add one thing, one of the things I learned in my biology education is that it's not just program and physics and program and computer science. Genomics is a data science, right? And so it's even within this building, the departments from CAS working together and learning from each other and their opportunities as well.
It's somewhat the answer. This is the first time I've been in this space, and what goes on here? Is this classes just come in here, or is there speaker series? What's the? I know it's run by Kodak, but how is it being developed? What are the things what are the resources that are available to Kodak?
It's a great question. So the main activity that happens together is it's the incubator for students who want to start ventures. When we first started, there were 5 Kodak students. Now there are still 5 Kodak students. Founders and residents from all across campus. And they come here in this office. They have these tables, they get coaching, they go through workshops, we bring in guest speakers, and they learn about entrepreneurship, they learn to practice this process. And coming this semester, this will also be the home for the NSF site class that takes place as well. So it's evolving. We've been here since the middle of last semester. We're still defining it ourselves, but the primary function is a place where science, technology, and business come together.
We've had some guest speakers in here. Sheila Johnson, who used to be the co-founder of EMT, so he gave a good talk in here last it is a space that is for everybody. I mean, we actually it's really I'm just like there, but yeah. So it is a space that is supposed to be for everyone. And it's not a classroom space. Like it's not like this classroom space. You don't have to worry about like scheduling around classes.
We've had faculty from the seminary, from all over campus, coming to look at the space. And we try to make it available. It's related to innovation in some way. We try to make it available to other people.
In Seattle, the Association of Peers, they have their questions yet?
So, about the memory, I don't have any problem yet. So, I mean, that's supposed to come from it.
Yeah.
And then you scan and the program is a regular extension.
Yeah, so we're going to offer it definitely every fall and spring, and if there's enough interest over the summer as well. One of the things that you could do, so like for example, the project that Emmanuel's going to be working on is actually from my PhD work. So it's kind of like a Zoom-in PhD. So I do CAD genomics. And I had somebody email me one day, like I was at NIH working, and someone emailed me and said, hey, I think my cat might be an ocelot, can you help me? And so I was like, oh yeah, I can do some testing, but then I didn't get scared because I think he realized that the cat is an ocelot, that like, people will take it away, so that he just kind of respond. But then I was like, oh, perhaps there's a market for people making sure that their domestic cats are indeed domestic cats. And there actually are guy dad from in New York City who has one of these hybridized domestic wild cats, and there's different legalities to how legal that is or not, depending on where you live. There's also a breeding community that is, you would actually like to know, like, if, a cat is, so for their purposes, we can actually say, like, yes, this cat actually does have ocelot or Savannah cat or Asian leopard cat. So you can even, like, take, at any point in your research, at any point in your life, and say, oh, I did this thing, and that would be a lot of money. Like, that's the kind of thing that is not the best way to be basic for research. Just something that you have some expertise.
And if anybody has students, or if you're interested in looking at the blockchains, cryptocurrencies, we would love to see all of that happen.
Yeah.
How does the university handle pets and IP that's developed
Figuring that out. Well, I can say that at least the last time I was involved in any conversations about that, the university policy, I think, is very generous. The current policy is not trying to claim, faculty or student stuff. It's I mean, there is some sharing, but it is very generous. It's not an aggressive kind of grant. So, yeah, actually, what's nice about it is, and the way it's set up now, they use the patent is not, or the IP is not owned by the university. They don't claim ownership. They actually leave ownership of the original inventors. What they want is licensing fees down the line as the company becomes successful. So that's really nice. A lot of universities will just say, you invented it here, it's ours. And it's just no negotiation. So that's part of the policy.
And students who start registering with the university to take any equity, and it doesn't come into the IP agents, should they have a workshop place to learn that
I'm curious, is there someone in the council office who's helping think about this? Yeah, so most of the IP work is done right now by Jonathan Tubman, who's the vice provost for research, and then general counsel. Yeah, and we have a consulting agreement with a company called Tremont, which really provides most of the expertise. Because we're not quite at the scale to have internally.
Right, yeah, you can't just do, somebody's, especially I've done facility stuff before, so somebody, I know these discussions start, so it's good.
Yeah, and by the way, the Tremont representative I actually met with a couple of months ago, and he's happy to meet with anybody who has, who does want to discuss this. He's very well. That's great. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for coming. Thank you for before you all leave, more technology. Yeah. You can do any one of these options. You can scan the QR code, go to this link, or go to this website. Whichever you prefer, we really appreciate your feedback. And again, if you haven't put your bus raffle ticket in this bucket, please do so before you go. Thank you all for coming in.
By any chance, are you going anywhere in your building? Like, it'd be fun.